Hello and welcome back to video number 3 of Houkido Training. I'm your host, as always, Alejo Enriquez. I'm here to get myself a little bit of workout and share it with you. Hopefully you enjoy it. I am still working out the kinks. I'm trying different photography techniques and so forth. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get warmed up. As always, it's always important to get warm before you start exercising. Just get a little bit of circulation with minimal, not overexerting your range of motion. So I'm going to start with jumping jacks. Jumping jacks are a good way. That's my favorite way to just get the blood moving without needing a lot of space. I'm doing these workouts in a, I guess maybe an 8 by 8 foot square. If that's all you've got, you're in luck, because that's all we need. If you got less, you have my condolences, and you should still be able to do a fair amount of what we do here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stretch out, twisting a little bit here. Twisting and loosening up my hips. Now you can always pause your video and do extra warm-ups if you need it, extra stretching if you need it. I don't like to overdo the stretching or warm-ups, especially here. I already warmed up a little bit before this video. You may want to as well. But for those of you who want to jump right into it, make sure we got nice looseness in the shoulders. Shoulders and hips, you'll really miss them when they're gone. So trying to make sure my shoulders and hips and my spine are all nice and loose, have good circulation. I'm really feeling good. That's the goal. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do some push-ups. I invite you to do some push-ups as well. I'm just going to do one good set. If you want to pause and do a couple good sets, feel free. But at least, even if you hate push-ups, the more you hate them, the more you should be doing them because they're good for you in all kinds of ways. Here we go. They get easier every time you do them. So I've got a pretty good set of workouts today that I'm excited to get to. Before we start shredding our muscles too much with the various leg exercises I have in mind, I invite you to join me first on practicing the next level of making the ground your friend. So you might remember, I already talked about doing break falls, rolling backwards. Step 1 is just rolling from the ground. Step 2 is sitting backwards from a kneeling position and rolling on the ground, arching, curving your back. Step 3 is all the way from standing. Now, believe it or not, all of that is only half the battle, because we also need to be able to not panic if we see the ground coming towards us. If you're tipping forward, if you trip and you see the ground coming at you, people tend to panic and reach out for the ground and boom, break their collarbone or the wrist or all kinds of other things that can happen. So, join me here, sitting on my shins, sitting with my knees forward. This is a Japanese typical way to sit. So we refer to this as seiza in Aikido and karate. So what I'm going to do, you're going to have to do it on both sides. So pick an arm. Whichever arm you pick, I'm going to do my left hand first. Plant your left hand on the ground. Take the leg that's on that side, the left leg, and you're going to pull it back. So now I've made a kind of an arch. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my right shoulder and put it all the way on the ground. Now I'm going to put my arm down into the hole, all the way to your shoulder on the ground. Now with both feet and your arm, push yourself up, open over. Now if you're looking at that and say, what the hell, that's crazy, I don't want to do that. Trust me, you will, it's not dangerous. It is not dangerous to just gently curl your back, curl your arm, put your shoulder all the way to the ground, and then push yourself over on your back. Your back will naturally make a nice little curve, and your contact with the ground will roll up your arm, up your shoulder, down your hip. Now, I will say, when most people try this for the first time, what they do, and this is not to speak ill of you if this happens to you the first time, plant your hand, put your leg back, put you down here, and what they'll do is they'll tip onto their back this way. They'll roll to the side. And that's better than not doing anything, but that's not right. Because when you tip to the side, you're successfully not injuring yourself. And that's the number one goal. So you meet the number one goal of not injuring yourself, but your real goal, the second goal to this, is to lose your fear of tumbling head over heels, literal heels over head. Literally having your head down and your feet straight up is inherently terrifying until you get used to it, at which point it's no big deal. So what I mean by that is that do the same thing on the other side here. Rather than just tipping forward with, rather than just kind of put your shoulder and then flopping to the side, again, that's wrong. Put your hand on the ground, arm on the ground, push yourself up. You have to actually push yourself with your legs and get your back going straight over. And once you're able to do that, then you'll find that you actually are less afraid of tumbling end over end. And that's the goal, because the next step, as you might guess, is to do it from a kneeling position, like something like so. So from here, same thing here. Notice my hand actually hits the ground to prevent injury. And then ultimately the true goal is to be able to do it from standing on hardwood floor. So that's just, I share that with you. Feel free to pause the video and try it a couple more times, or try it in your own time, but I just wanted to share that as one way you can help make the ground. Alright, so now it's time to get started with our squats. But today first I'm going to be doing this differently for a couple reasons. First of all, I want to try and find different ways to do squats. Legs are really important, really powerful. They really end up controlling where we are and how strongly we do things. Ultimately, it comes from your legs. In karate, we teach that the strength of a punch actually comes not from the muscles in the arm at all, but from the ability of the hips to deliver power. So in the same way, being able to throw a ball doesn't just come from the strength of the arm, but also the strength of the legs. So I'm going to break, another reason I'm doing it this way, trying to mix it up. This is a new quaffle, I want to break it in. And another reason is I just want to emphasize something that I see often is a mistake in people. When you're tired, you tend to pick up a ball by bending over the waist. Yep. And this is not great for several reasons. One reason is that you're losing your visual line. Your visual line, your brain is kind of creating a map of the world, and when you radically tilt the angle of your body, you lose it and you have to reestablish it. So another reason this is a problem is because if the ball is slick, if it's wet or something like that, if you're playing in conditions, you don't really want to use just one hand to pick it up, and so the other hand has to come all the way down here as well, and now you're at risk of your broom hitting the ground, losing control of your broom, things like that. And there's a third reason, which really relates more to the fact that it can be slow. You're depending on these small muscles of the back to straighten your back afterwards, and that's not really what you want. So for all these reasons, we're going to do pick-up squats today. So I'm going to pick up with my right hand and my left to make sure I develop some strength and handedness, reduce the handedness of my play. So just go ahead and put your feet here. I don't know if you can see quaffle. Here we go. I'm going to just put my feet in front of the quaffle like this. I'm going to bend my knee, keep my head straight, back straight. Bend your knees, pick up the quaffle, and then put it down. And the other side. 3. Oh, see that? My left hand's not as strong. 4. All right. 5. This is nice because I'm able to keep my eyes forward while I'm picking up the ball. I'm not losing track of my opponent. 8. I really just need the pickup habit. But I'm also putting it down instead of dropping it, just to give myself extra reps. And really it's just to get extra reps. And also just because it's quicker than just dropping it and waiting for it to stop bouncing. So I'm picking up, putting it down. Picking up, putting it down. This is a Quidditch workout for the ages. Notice I've already done I actually lost track. I did a bunch. Whoops. Excuse me. Breaking in the quaffle too. It's a new quaffle. Alright, so I'm going to rest my legs for just a second. I'm going to do another round of those. This is a basic workout you can do anytime. This is good because it's strengthening the legs. It's training your muscle memory to keep your back straight and eyes up. And you're building grip strength in your hands. So again, I'm going to go 1, switch hands. This is also good because I'm training my hands to switch the broom when I need to. You're just picking up the ball in your peripheral vision. You don't need to look at it. You know what a ball looks like. If you're playing in difficult conditions that the ball might be rolling around and wet, that's a different story. But your basics should now be keeping your eye line. This is a good workout right here. I need this. I'll just do this for a half hour. Alright, one more thing. I'll do a third set. The third set, I'm going to pretend this ball is slick and wet. And then I can't trust, or maybe it's overinflated. We're playing in the Texas summer sun like we should be at TSL right now, except we're not because coronavirus. So the third set, I'm going to do a two-hand pickup. So that I'm gonna make sure I'm nice and close. If you're too far away and you go for the two-handed pickup, you come off broom. So tuck up your feet nice and close. Guys, if you want to add an extra level to this, you start kind of farther away. I'm reading the ball in my peripheral vision. I'm gonna step up to it without stepping on it. Step up, two-handed. Now I'm not letting go of the broom. I'm grabbing with my wrist, with the outside of my fingers and the outside of my wrist and the meat of my hand. I'm just going to grab left way. 1, 2. All right. I'm going to step back and step forward and add an extra level of challenge. Now here, you can hear my broom hitting the ground. That's okay. It's allowed to. All right. Now pick it up like this, like that. This is a good way to train to make sure that the ball is slick. That you can practice a two-hand pickup. Some people teach to scoop the ball from underneath. I respect that, but that only really works if you're in motion. Because if I'm standing and I scoop, I may not scoop it up, I may end up knocking it forward. And if I'm not moving forward to collect it, I could get in trouble. So I'm not saying don't do that. In fact, we should incorporate different views. So I'm going to go ahead and also do a little scoop. I'm going to do a scoop here. A scoop. See, I'm not used to it. This is a good thing to do, just to scoop it up this way. Practice it a different way. That way you can identify what your preference is. The other thing about the scoop is it really does force you to get nice and low. I'm going to do a couple more scoops upwards. Scoop up. I'm going to try the other hand. I'm not left-handed. So this is going to be harder. But I'm just going to go ahead and scoop. Notice I'm not looking at the ball. I just see where it is in my peripheral vision. That way this will apply better to the field. You're not staring at the balls when you're playing the field. Scoop up this way. This does force you to get real low, but that's okay. As long as you're keeping your head up and kind of straight. Notice that this requires you to get nice and low with your legs. Scoop this way. Alright, and then one last thing, like I said, I'm going to work on that two-hand pickup. I'm going to do a two-hand pickup and a throw. Alright, so I'm going to two-hand pickup. Not actually throw, I'm just going to swing like I'm line throwing. I'm going to go with my other hand just to practice my left-handedness, just in case I ever dislocate my right thumb again. That I did do one time, and then I played left-handed for a couple months. So I'm going to swing. I'm giving myself a little extra break now by cheating, by like stepping back, giving myself space, but really I'm practicing something else. It's not just for my comfort, it's so I practice that approach to the ball, right? Pick up and throw. Other hand, pick up and throw. Or swing at least your arm so you're ready, mentally ready to do something. Pick up and throw. Good. Alright. Woo. Yes, I did a bunch of squats already. I feel stronger, or at least I will feel stronger once all my torn muscle fibers heal themselves. Alright, let's go ahead and revisit an old favorite of mine, something we should work on all the time. That is holding the broom with your non-dominant hand, tucking the ball into that arm, leaving your hand free. What I want to do this time is something very specific. A martial arts movement of a circle is common in Chinese martial arts, not in Japanese martial arts. The Japanese prefer direct strikes and direct punches, but the Chinese will often swing their arms in a circle using a rotator cuff like this. And it produces a lot of really handy stuff for close-in combat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck the ball, and I'm going to take a look at where my arm starts. It starts out in front of me, like so. I'm going to cock my wrist, give my wrist a little action, and swing my arm out this way. So if someone's reaching to grab, I'm catching their arm with my arm, and I'm pushing it out of the way. Pushing it, hooking it. You can actually do this kind of snake movement with your arms, so we actually practice this in Kung Fu sometimes, like this. So the idea is I'm running, tuck the ball, I deflect, rather than just smashing someone's arm with my arm, I'm catching their arm and sweeping it away. And if I'm in motion, this will almost certainly, if they're coming at me from any direction other than parallel to me, this will send them off the wrong direction. I don't even have to be faster than my opponent anymore. For a lot of moves, they work better if you're faster than your opponent. I'm very honestly a little bit on the slow side, but I tuck, sweep, and people coming at an angle are suddenly coming at the wrong angle. So just a few times, join me. I got my right hand on the ball, because I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, of course, do the opposite. I'm going to tuck, I'm going to sweep, and pick the ball up. All right? It's that simple. I don't actually have to move. I'm just kind of adding it mentally because I'm thinking of it, but you don't have to be walking. Just you can if you want in a little circle, but tuck, and hook, pull the ball back out. Hook, pull the ball out. Kind of hooking, sweeping that arm away, and then the ball comes right back out. I sweep here. Notice I'm not just keeping the ball here where it could get loose or get punched out from behind, or I could often drop if you put it too far back. I'm kind of catching it on the forearm and then trapping it to my pectoralis muscle. Hook here. Alright, so it's kind of right in there. This big 4-point connection. The chest, the arm, the forearm, and then even my wrist. I can bend my wrist a little bit to give a little protection. Hook, here. Hook, and back out here. Just do it slow until you do it right, and then slowly work at the speed. What we say in karate is practice makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect. So every time you do it wrong, so for example, if I do it wrong where I put it too far back, that's not right. I have to fix it immediately, right? Do it correctly even if it's slow, because then you'll get faster over time. We have another saying, power comes from technique, speed comes from practice. So I've practiced this a lot, so it's fast. At first, I did it slowly to make sure I was doing it correctly. That way I had more power. In karate, it's all about power. But really what we mean is correctness, accuracy, power, the delivery. Even when I teach test taking, I say same thing. Power comes from technique. Speed comes from practice. When you're taking a math test, power is getting the right answer. Obviously, speed is doing it quickly. Practice it correctly so that you can speed up. Don't look for shortcuts. Do not ever look for shortcuts. You'll get there doing it the right way. If you get practicing it, you'll get faster over time. Okay, so that's just throw that one in there. All right, I want to do another sort of bending the knees thing, building up strength in the quads. Another reason for that, we want to make sure that we are practicing all the different positions. And when you're a seeker, you have to deal with something at different levels. Basically, there's this idea of different levels. So if you're trying to go over the top of the snitch, versus if you're trying to go around the snitch, versus if you're trying to go up to the 5-hole, go between the legs, those are kind of all different levels. You should, ideally, as a seeker, you'll probably have one that's your best angle, depending on your body size versus the snitch's size. But you'll have to be able to develop all of them, especially because you may, no matter how big you are, you may end up facing a snitch who's bigger than you. And you may end up facing a snitch who's smaller than you, so you have to be able to work at different angles. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a tennis ball. You could probably do this with a quaffle too, but I want to try with a tennis ball. I'm going to bounce this ball, and then I'm going to catch it at 3 different levels. And you'll see what I mean in a second. So I'm going to do a 2-hand catch. Not that you would necessarily seek with 2 hands, but this is good for chasing, to do 2-hand catching. And also because the other hand of a seeker may be deflecting, you may be holding the broom, but you may also be deflecting or have just dived and then dived the other way. So I'm going to go high first. High. Catch the ball high. I'm going to go then middle. Here. Now I'm going to go low. Low. Notice what I'm doing. I'm bending my knees down. I'm kind of tucking my knees together, bending my thighs. My back is kind of straight, kind of angled upwards a little bit, but not too much because it's going to be a little awkward if I do too much. All right, I'm going to go high. I'm going to go go middle, and I'm gonna go low. Now the low is the hardest one for a couple reasons. The ball moves faster the longer it's been falling. That's just physics. And also I'm bending my legs to get even lower. So I'm putting more weight, more strain on my legs, because now my legs aren't supporting my weight with the bones. The muscles are having to do all the work. So we go high, I'm gonna go medium, and then I'm gonna go low. All right, this is a good workout just to get that two-hand catching. So if possible, go back to holding your broom between every time. Medium. This is also good in case you ever need to catch a ball at a funny angle. Your body will have some idea what to do. Medium. Low. I'm going to actually try something different. I'm experimenting here. I'm going to try and catch the ball as close to the ground as I can when I go high or when I go low. So here's high. Here's medium. I'm going to try and catch it all the way down here. Low. This is good for just working out. High. Medium. Low. Tucking and pulling it up underhand might be a little bit cheating, so I'll try it again. High. If you have a carpet and your ball doesn't bounce, then you may have to throw it to yourself. You can also do this. I'll do it this way for those in solidarity people who have carpets. High, medium, low. Make sure you're going all the way down. This is also useful for beaters to be able to block at different angles, change your eye line. It's one thing in baseball, because I watch some baseball videos sometimes, try and mix up my experience. One thing that pitchers do is they'll throw pitches at different heights, not because they think it'll strike out the player necessarily, but because they're trying to change the player's eye line. If the player's always kind of looking down on the ball, then if you throw high, the player might change their eye line. And then the goal is to try and obviously this is going to work better on some people than others, but it's another tool in your arsenal. Oop, dropped one. Shame on me. Push-up time. Okay. That was a good little workout there, just a little fun one. All right. Another thing about that, what I mentioned with getting low for beaters, is that you can also block. We're going to practice our beating, our blocking beats. Now again, as a reminder, this is not always your first option. Depending on your gameplay, blocking beats may or may not be a good idea. But it's definitely should be a tool in your arsenal. The way I see it is that we shouldn't always practice the thing that's desperate, but you should practice it because sooner or later you will be desperate. Of course, I'm going to dedicate a lot of our time and energy to practicing throwing. We'll come back to throwing in a bit, but let's go ahead and just take this like it's a bludger. If it can be a quaffle too, you probably need to do it with a tennis ball. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to block in the blocking position here. Cover your face. So you can just kind of peeking around the edge of your... Now, one of the more important things, when you're making a block, you don't want to look away. It's natural to close your eyes and look away because a ball's coming in. But if you can put your face behind the ball, you try and steel yourself. Okay, I'm going to keep my eyes open, I'm going to make this block. That way you're not having to readjust your sideline. So I'm going to come back to holding the ball like this, and I'm going to block. I'm actually putting the ball right in the corner of my little camera screen so that I'm just practicing here. So I'm just kind of going from high to low. That whole full body, using all your muscles, supporting your weight with your muscles instead of your bones. Be careful. Another thing, make sure you're gripping it like so. Right? You don't want to be gripping it here. You're more likely to catch your fingers. Now, to be fair, refs tend to call those blocks clear, even if you're catching your fingers. If you're being very honest, you should, of course, admit, no, I got my fingers. You don't have to. We have to do what the refs say. You have to do what the refs say. That's the rules. You should be honest, but I would never decry anyone for not being honest in this case. If it hits tags your fingertip and the ref calls you clear, I think that's a level of sportsmanship we aren't all born with. But you definitely want to put yourself in the best position possible to make that block by tucking your body, getting small. I'm going to also do another Mario Nasty move, and hammer. This is really hard because you have to see the bludger coming in and time it so you hammer it down. But I'm going to try that anyway. Hammer. All right, I'm here. Hammer. Right? He has a lot of practice. Ryan has people throwing balls at him and he's hammering them away in practice. All right, so that's another hammer, another movement. And also just a good shoulder and arms workout. Something like this here. Okay. There we go. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm getting a good workout. You can tell. I can tell it's a good workout. All right. Beating. Oh, you know what? We'll come back to the beating with our feet thing. We're actually going to practice foot positioning. Now, this is something I got from another martial art, but it's not really a martial art. It is not a martial art. Capoeira. So this is from Capoeira, which is a Brazilian martial art that started as a dance that actual slaves in Brazil developed to hide the fact they were practicing their martial arts. So it is both a dance and martial art now as a result. And the basic stance in Capoeira, you start with your legs out, knees bent, but you don't stay here like in karate. In karate, you stay here. But in Capoeira, you swing the foot, the one foot, you pick one foot and you swing and put it behind the other foot. At the same time that right leg comes back, the right hand kind of comes forward here like this. So I'm going to flow between the two, standing here. Now why am I doing this? First of all, I'm sharing Capoeira with you. If you ever have a chance to take a Capoeira class, give it a shot. You might like it. And the other reason I'm doing this is because we want to be able to quickly pivot your feet. Notice that I'm not planting here. I'm really just kind of bouncing my foot, the ball of my foot, off the ground. Then I'm planting this foot. And so each foot, if you watch one foot, it takes turn anchoring and sliding with grace. So I want to do it faster. It has to kind of go over the rhythm in your head though. So this is the what's called ginga in Capoeira. This is the basic kind of position. From here, you go, yeah, whoa, oh, you do all this other stuff. So that idea I want to carry into this next movement. Where I don't want to really be in a neutral stance unless I'm really far away from the action. You know what I'm talking about. Your team has bludger control. The chase turn up an offense, and you're one of those teams where both your beaters stand here. It's kind of looking like this. Like that's fine. You can be in neutral stance like that. But as soon as trouble comes your way, you want to be able to. Let's try the same idea here. I don't want to stand, I don't want to stamp my feet here, I don't want to sit. You want your feet to be live on the balls of your feet. Right? So I'm going to pivot this way and this way. I'm going to pivot one way or the other. And part of the reason for that is that because I just want to be able to change which foot's in front depending on what I'm doing. It's much easier to block if your dominant leg is forward. But it's because that arm here becomes in front, right? When I tend to block, I tend to move my right leg forward because I'm right-handed. Then when you're setting up to throw, that leg needs to be back. So we're just going to do kind of a ginga here, all right? So I'm like here, and I'm here. Notice also, by the way, this ball is still kind of slick. I'm not ever going two-handed because I need to move my feet. What I'm doing is I'm using my hand that's holding the broom to retain control of the ball. Right? If I have trouble with the ball, if I might lose it, I'm using the other hand to control it as well. Right? So this basic movement here, notice that I'm also, here's another thing, my head is not going up and down a lot. I'm kind of sliding, kind of slick and sliding. If you look at yourself in a mirror, you might see if you're moving up and down. You really don't want to. You want to try and keep your legs bent. Notice that I'm kind of staying, by keeping my weight sliding along the ground. This also helps cut down on telegraphing your movements. So I'm going to now try the next version of this, which is a full body slide. The full body, well, the 180 slide. This is also what we practice a lot. Now we can't practice this indoors all the way. We're going to practice a turn beat. So a turn beat is where I'm one leg forward here, actually, then I'm going to add the pickup. I'm going to pick up the ball with my right hand. It might be here or here, it doesn't matter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pivot and pull my left foot all the way behind me. And then I'm not going to throw the ball, but I'm just going to bring my ball hand overhead like I'm throwing. So notice there's a 180-degree hip turn. So you want to be able to pick up and throw. This is very, very important to be able to do for chaser defense. If you're, for example, or defending against chasers, I should say. As a beater, if I run up on a chaser, I menace him, he throws, I plant, I turn, I beat the person he's throwing the quaffle to before they have a chance to even catch it. That's gold. Everyone knows what that feels like. That feels good. You know, like I said, yeah, sex is great, but if you ever beat a chaser who was about to receive the quaffle at the hoops, it feels so good. So it's just in a turn beat, just basically, if you're a beater who's practiced this a lot, this part's going to be like, well, this is awfully easy because we do this a whole bunch of times at home, or excuse me, not at home, in practice. Give it a shot, see what it feels like here. Just give that hip 180 turn. If you're really bored by this, practice with the other hand. You never know, you'll dislocate your fingers. Yep, and my left hand is not strong enough to even hold the ball. That's what you get. This whole body turn. And of course, because it's a little slick, I'm trying not to overswing because I'm likely to hit the camera. All right, I'll do left-handed one more time. Pick up here. Ooh, that's not good. I need to break this guy some more. All right. Okay, I can't tell the time. Oh yeah, that's right. All right, we're running out of time. Hey, we've had a good workout. Okay. Let's see, last thing, snitching. Gotta mix it up. We got our chasers, we got our beaters, we got our seekers. We got our snitch. Remember, as a snitch, you want to lean in, put your hand under your opponent, but you also want to get that butt out as far as you can. So practice going kind of straight, hands forward, and then put your butt out, put it all the way. Now your feet can be wide so that you're going to hold your stance, or you can be narrow so that you can slide backwards. Your choice, your decision. I'm going to do a profile, so it doesn't even matter. But get that butt all the way back, right? And one thing is that when you push all the way forward, you're going to rock back on your heels. It makes it harder to move. So this is relying on your strength. If you're a speed type snitch, if you're a smaller person, this is still an important move because people will dive at you and you'll need to push them down and push your butt up at the same time. So I'm not saying this isn't important for you, but a larger snitch or a snitch, more power-based snitch, will really need to make sure they have that butt back movement. Everyone can benefit from it though. So join me if you push. Seeker pushes, snitch, butt back moves. Here. Over here. Here, actually let's add a little extra movement. Switch to one way, butt back. Switch the other way, butt back. Switch one way, butt back. Notice I'm just pivoting on one foot directly. My foot just goes straight to where it goes. No wasted movements. No shuffling your feet here. Just maximum core strength. Snitch pushbacks, snitch butt outs. I don't know what to call them. We'll come up with names sometime. Okay. All right, that's a great workout. I think that's 30 minutes right there. So join me in cooling down in just a minute. I'm just gonna stretch a little more. I'm gonna work on my leg muscles for flexibility because this is the time when you can get more flexible is after you've done the workout. And as you can tell, I have very stiff hamstrings, very stiff calves, very stiff Achilles tendon because I can't touch my toes. So I'm working out a little bit. I'm gonna go to one side. You gotta stretch the groin a little bit. Don't pull your groin, you'll regret that. Oh. Ooh. Okay. All right, thanks for coming, guys. Good work, appreciate it. Please like, share, and subscribe, all that bullshit. But more importantly, let me know what you think. Let me know if you like it. I'm not getting a lot of feedback, which I guess is not unusual because these are martial arts and Quidditch are both niche. So a double niche thing is kind of unusual. So, but I really would like, to hear a little feedback in case anyone's enjoying it, is learning anything, is staying sane here in quarantine. This whole workout can be done in one, I guess 8 foot by 8 foot box. It helps out the ball and the broom. Don't even need it, probably, but it helps. Well, you don't need to use an actual Quidditch broom, just use a regular broom for cleaning the apartment. That's what I'll do next time. One of these times. I'll use this broom. Alright. So, that would work if you have it. Okay. Thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate it. And until next time, just remember, power comes from technique, speed comes from practice. Us.